This is an outlier method explanation for why overthinking is the #1 cause of poor sleep. Most people believe they can't sleep because they're anxious or stressed. In reality, the brain stays awake because it still believes it's responsible for something. This explanation is designed to help the mind understand what keeps it active at night, and how that activity naturally shuts down when effort is no longer required. You don't need to focus, follow instructions, or try to sleep while listening. Simply let the explanation unfold. Understanding removes effort. When effort ends, sleep follows. Let's begin. Most people think they can't sleep because they're stressed or anxious, or because their brain is wired wrong. That's comforting because it suggests something is broken. But here's the quieter truth. You're not broken. You're just still working. Overthinking isn't a malfunction. It's a job that hasn't been shut down. Think about it. During the day, your mind is rewarded for thinking. Every solved problem reinforces the idea that thinking is useful, even heroic. So when night arrives, the brain doesn't magically know the shift is over. It keeps going. Not because it wants to torture you, but because it believes it's still responsible. Overthinking at night isn't random. It's the brain asking one simple question. Are we done yet? And every time you respond by engaging the thought, worrying about it, or trying to fix it, the brain hears, no, keep going. That's the loop. People don't lose sleep because they think too much. They lose sleep because they treat thoughts like assignments. Here's where it gets interesting. At night, the brain loses its external inputs. No emails, no conversations, no movement. So the mind turns inward. And whatever hasn't been emotionally closed becomes loud. Not because it's important, but because nothing else is competing with it. This is why the same thought that felt manageable at noon feels catastrophic at midnight. It didn't grow. The world got quieter. Now, here's the mistake nearly everyone makes. They try to stop thinking, which is like trying to fall asleep by shouting, "Sleep now!" The brain doesn't hear calm in that. It hears urgency. And urgency is the opposite of sleep. Sleep only happens when the brain believes there is nothing to solve, nothing to prepare for, nothing to manage. Overthinking is simply the brain refusing to power down without confirmation. So when you lie in bed thinking, why won't my mind shut off? The honest answer is, because you haven't told it the workday is over. Not verbally, not forcefully, but psychologically. This is why the smartest people often struggle the most with sleep. High-functioning minds are trained to never disengage. Steve Jobs didn't overthink because he was anxious. He overthought because his mind was effective. And effective systems don't stop on their own. They stop when the signal changes. Night isn't a signal. Darkness isn't a signal. Being tired isn't a signal. Only permission is. But most people don't know how to give it. So they lie there, negotiating with their own brain. And the brain, being very intelligent, keeps winning. Here's the part that surprises people. You don't overcome overthinking by calming down. You overcome it by removing its purpose. Overthinking exists for one reason only: to prevent unfinished business from becoming a problem later. The brain isn't trying to ruin your night, it's trying to protect your future. Which is why arguing with thoughts doesn't work. You can't logic your way out of a job your brain believes is necessary. So instead of trying to stop thoughts, you stop assigning them importance. This is subtle but powerful. Thoughts don't keep you awake. Your reaction to them does. The moment you treat a thought like something to solve, something to remember, something that needs an answer, you've given it authority. The brain responds by amplifying it. But when a thought appears and nothing happens,
No reaction, no chase, no concern. The brain marks it as non-urgent, and non-urgent things fade. This is the core misunderstanding about meditation and sleep. They're not acts of control, they're acts of non-participation. Think of thoughts like notifications. If every notification required immediate action, you'd never rest. But when the brain learns, nothing bad happens if I don't respond right now, it stops sending alerts. This is why sleep doesn't come from effort. Effort signals importance. Importance signals wakefulness. Sleep comes from psychological closure. Not closure of problems, closure of responsibility. Here's the quiet shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, "How do I stop thinking?" you ask, "What am I still responsible for right now?" And most nights, the answer is nothing. Tomorrow exists, but it doesn't require your attention tonight. The brain doesn't need reassurance, it needs release. When that release happens, something remarkable occurs. Thoughts may still pass, but they no longer pull you with them. The mind doesn't go silent, it steps aside. And when the mind steps aside, the body remembers how to sleep. This is why people share explanations like this, not because they're clever, but because they're relieving. They remove blame, they remove fear, they remove the idea that something is wrong. Overthinking isn't your enemy. It's a loyal system waiting for the signal that it can finally stand down. And when it gets that signal, sleep isn't forced, it arrives.